Hello and welcome to Nullitaire Gaming, where we play games with 0 players, or in other words, we play bots against one another. And in this series we're playing Imperium, both the Legends and the Classics box by Nigel Buckle and David Chertsey. And we're coming to the end of a tournament. We've been putting all the factions up against each other in a single elimination style tournament. And most of the tournament is completed. If you haven't seen any of it, I recommend going back to the beginning and watching it. So I'll put a link in this video to the full playlist, so you can go back and watch it from the beginning if you like. Okay, so I'm about to show the tournament bracket up to this point. So, spoiler alert. All right, here it is. So, we've played the first and second rounds. Now we're in the semifinals. And we've played the first semifinal already. The Atlanteans beat the Egyptians. And we're now going to play the second semifinal round, the Macedonians versus the Celts. Whoever wins this game will go up against the Atlanteans for the final battle. Okay, so let's set up the Macedonians versus the Celts. Here we go. Okay, the game is set up. As always, I decided randomly which player would go first. So the Macedonians will be the first player. Their deck is here, and so their hand is the top row. And the Celts will be second player. Their deck is here and in line with the second row, which will represent their hand. Okay, both of these nations play according to the usual rules, so there's nothing we have to talk about there. They start out barbarian, and when they find their full moon card, they become an empire. Okay, that's it. We're ready to go, so let's get started. I also should have said, as a reminder, that I put the post-it notes over tables that are not relevant to the current game to keep me from accidentally looking at the wrong thing. So that's what those are for. Okay, so I can focus on the Macedonians barbarian table here, and I can focus on the Celts barbarian table over here. Alright, so the Macedonians start by rolling a 1, and hey, Philip II is their first card, who is a barbarian card. So I think that will be the first priority. So as always, we go down the list until we find something that matches the current card, and we do whatever the first thing is we come to says to do. Okay, so barbarian, that symbol is on this card, so we do this. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary and put this card in history. Well, they don't have any population right now, we just started. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Can't do that either, they have no materials. So otherwise, break through for a region, so they will do that. As always, when a faction breaks through for a card, they take whatever's in the market first, if there's any available, and they'll only go to the decks if the relevant card type is not available in the market. So there is a region available in the market, so they will simply break through for that, which just means put it on top of their deck. Okay, next card for the Macedonians is Advance, which is also a barbarian card, so we're going to get a repeat. They can't spend population, can't spend materials, so same thing, break through for a region. And once again, there's just one region, so they will break through for that, put it on top of their deck. Next card is Unrest, which simply goes to the Unrest pile. That's it. Last card is Conquer, which is also a barbarian card. Sensing a theme with the Macedonians. Okay, barbarian, same thing. They don't have any population or materials, so break through for a region. Once again, there's just one region, so they will take it. Okay, that is the end of the Macedonian turn, so they will place progress on the 1 card in the market and slide the card down. That's where it is. And they'll refill their hand. Okay, it's the Celts' turn now. They roll a 6, so they're going to play all of their cards this turn, starting with Boudica, which is both an attack and a barbarian card. So let's take a look at their chart, see what they want to do. Attack is first. Steal 1 population and 1 progress. Okay, the Macedonians don't have either of those things. So that means that this wouldn't do anything. This would be an ineffective instruction. Therefore, we ignore it. The bot will not do this. When an instruction is ineffective, it doesn't do anything at all, then we simply go back to the column and we continue on down and find the next thing that, that matches this card. So I think that's going to be here, Barbarian. Okay, so they'll do this instead. Break through for an uncivilized card and put this card into history. There are two uncivilized cards in the market, and so a bot will always take the one that is worth the most victory points. But in this case, they're equal with regard to victory point. This one's worth 1, and this one is worth 1. Okay, so they're tied in that regard. First tiebreaker is whichever one has the most tokens on it. They're tied in that regard as well. They both have 0 tokens. Next tiebreaker is whichever one is in the lowest slot, so furthest to the left. Therefore, they will break through for art. And since they're breaking through, they do not take the unrest. They simply take the card and put it on top of their deck. Okay, and now Boudica is going to go into history. So we're going to put it right under their nation card there. Next card for the Celts is Conquer, which again is Barbarian, but actually is named right here. Okay, so they're going to do this special instruction for this card. If able, spend 3 population to break through for tributary. No, they don't have any population. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, you take an unrest. As I mentioned before in previous videos, whenever it says you, and it usually puts that in bold, but not always, whenever it says you, that's referring to the solitaire player, because these bots were written for solitaire play. So it's referring to the human player playing against this faction as a bot. But for us playing Nullitaire, we have to reinterpret that. That means the opposing bot. So this is saying that the Macedonians have to take some unrest. Okay, but anyway, we don't have to do that because this clause has taken effect. They are able to acquire a region, so they will not do that last bit. They'll do this instead. There are 2 regions in the market, Mountain and Lakes. Mountain is worth 1 victory point, whereas Lakes is worth 0, so they'll take that. Next card is Unrest. Just goes back to the Unrest pile. Next card is Advance, another Barbarian card. Okay. Nothing previous to that that's relevant. So, break through for an uncivilized card and put this card into history. Well, there's only one uncivilized card in the market, Code of Laws, so they were going to break through for that. That means they leave the unrest behind and simply put it on top of their deck. And Advance will go to history. The last card for the Celts is Druids. By the way, you may be able to hear some noise in the background. They're doing some roofing right outside my window and listening to some music, which I'm not complaining about. Roofing is a very hard job, and they deserve to listen to some music while they work. But there might be a little bit of noise, so if you hear that, that's what that is. Okay, Druids, which doesn't have any icons on it, so we'll just have to look for its name, if possible. I don't see it. So we get all the way down to Other. So they're going to do this. If able, return an unrest from the discard pile. I don't think there's any unrest in their discard pile, but I will double check that. Gain 1 progress. Okay, they can definitely do that. Discard the top card of their deck. They can definitely do that. All right, that's the end of the turn for the Celts. They rolled a 6. That means they do not place any progress in the market. They will simply refill their hand. And now the Macedonians say, oh yeah? You can play all your cards, so can we. All right, so the Macedonians will play all their cards this turn, starting with one of these regions that they recently acquired, Orestes. Actually, this came from their deck, so that's not true. But anyway, it's a region, and it's also pinned, Typically region comes first on these charts, and it does right before pinned. Okay, gain a progress, play the region, and exile a card from, gain a material, those are materials, not progress, play this region, and then exile a card from the market. So as a reminder, when bots exile cards from the market, they take the first card from the left that has no tokens on it. And if they all have tokens, they just don't do anything. So from the left, Phoenicians has a token on it, Vikings does not, so they will exile Vikings. Next card from the Macedonians is a region that they recently picked up. This one's not from their deck. Okay, so looks like a similar thing is going to happen. Or exactly the same thing, I should say. So, gain material, play the region, exile a card. This time they exiled Chin. Well, what a shock. Another region. Okay, grassland this time. So same thing is going to happen. Gain a material, play the region, exile a card. They will exile city this time. What? Another region? Okay. Well, this is the Macedonian conquest, right, of regions. So to be expected. All right, so same thing. The gain materials, play the region, exile a card. This time they exile steppe. A region? The Macedonians exiling a region? Oh, they must feel very bad about that. We're at the last card for the Macedonians. Will it be another region? I know that's what you're all wondering. Can it be a clean sweep of 6 straight regions for the Macedonians? No. Just a boring old unrest card. All right, that's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They don't place any progress because they rolled a 6. They will simply refill their hand. Do they have enough cards to do that? Yes, just enough. Okay. All right, time for the Celts. The Celts come back with another 6. So they're going to play all their cards again. And they say to the Macedonians, oh yeah, we can do regions too. All right, so here's Mountain, a region for the Celts. So let's see how they will play it. Here's a region for them. Comes before pinned. Gain 1 population and 1 material. Okay. And then play the region and exile a card from the market. So they will exile the Greeks. Next card for the Celts is Art, which is a pinned card. It's also civilized and uncivilized. Okay, and looks like uncivilized will be first. If able, acquire an uncivilized card, otherwise gain 1 population, put this card into history, and you take, that is, the Macedonians take unrest. But no, they are able to acquire an uncivilized card, so they'll just do that. There's only 1 uncivilized card in the market, and that's Jade Mask, so they will acquire that, which means they do have to take the unrest. And they put it right on top of, they put both cards right on top of their deck with the unrest on top. Okay, next card for the Celts is Cattle Raid, which is an attack and barbarian card. I believe attack is their first priority, yes. Okay. Steal 1 material and 1 progress. Well, the Macedonians don't have any progress, but they do have materials. So the Celts will simply steal 1 of those. So they'll just go over here and grab 1 of those. Take it back home. There we go. Next is a region, Celtica. And so we'll do what we did last time. Gain 1 population and 1 material. Play the region, exile a card from the market. They will exile exports. Last card for the Celts is Glory, which is named right here. If able, abandon 3 regions. Nope, they only have 2 in play, so they won't be able to gain that fame card. Otherwise, discard the top dynasty card, and the Macedonians take unrest. Okay, discard the top dynasty card. All right, so they just take the top dynasty card and put it into their discard pile. And then force the Macedonians to put some unrest on top of their deck. Once again, the Celts do not place any progress since they rolled a 6. They will simply refill their hand. The Celts did not have quite enough cards to finish filling their hand. They ran out of cards, so they take a card off their dynasty deck, put it in the discard, and shuffle. Now I know what you're thinking. Will the Macedonians respond to this Celtic aggression by rolling another 6? Could it be possible that they do that? Let's check and see. No, they rolled a 4. All right, they rolled a 4. So they will not play all their cards this time. Starting with Unrest, which simply goes to the Unrest pile. Next is Conquer, a Barbarian card. Okay, so Barbarian once again. It's the first priority. If able, spend 3 population to break through 4 tributary. Put this card into history. No, they don't have any population. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials, which they do have now, to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Ah, they can do that this time. So that is what they'll do instead of breaking through for a region. Okay, they're going to spend their 3 materials to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Well, there are 3 options in the market for civilized or uncivilized card. We have city, moneylenders, and gambling. The one worth the most is clearly moneylenders. The asterisk is always worth 5 victory points. Plus this has progress on it, so that's worth 6, way more than either of the other 2. So they will acquire it by taking the card plus the progress plus the unrest and put that on top of their deck. And the Conquer card goes into history. Another region for the Macedonians, Haliakmon Valley, and so we know what that means. They're going to take some materials, play the region, and exile a card. This time they exile city. Last card for the Macedonians, surprise, surprise, another region, Pelagonia, and so same thing applies. Gain a material, play the region, exile a card. They will exile the Persians. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They place progress on the 4 card in the market. Then they will slide this card down and refill their hand. They did not have enough cards to finish the job of refilling their hand, so they will take a card off the Dynasty deck, put it in the discard, and shuffle. Back to the Celts now. They roll a 3 and start with some Unrest. And their next card is Jade Mask, which is just an uncivilized card. It does have that mask icon, but I don't think the Celts care about that. Okay, so we're looking for uncivilized right there. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, gain population, put this card in history, you take Unrest. Okay, they're not going to do that. They will acquire an uncivilized card. There are 2 options for uncivilized cards in the market, both with a printed value of 1, but gambling has a progress token on it, so they will take that. Next card is more Unrest. And last card is Art. It's pinned, civilized, and uncivilized. Okay. So uncivilized once again. If able to acquire an uncivilized card, yep, they can still do it. Again, there are 2 options. Watermill is worth the most this time. That is the end of the turn for the Celts, so they'll place progress on the 3 card in the market. Slide that card down, and they will refill their hand. Well, the Macedonians are back to their old shenanigans. They've rolled a 6 again, so they're going to play all their cards, starting with Phalanx, which is a pinned card. It doesn't look like anything else going on in that card. Okay, so pinned. Gain a population. That's it. Next card for the Macedonians is Unrest. And then Moneylenders, which is an Empire card. And Civilized. Okay. I don't think they have any of that. Nope, looks like we're going to get all the way to Other here. Okay, gain a progress per bot region in play. Well, we've got a whole bunch of regions in play. 6, to be precise. Okay, so they're going to gain 6 progress here. Then discard the top card of their deck and put this card into history. Next card for the Macedonians is some Unrest. We'll get rid of that. And then last card will be Glory. Okay, which is named right here on their chart. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can definitely do that. And so that's what they're going to do. Okay, so they're going to abandon 3 regions. They'll take the last 3 regions that they played and discard them one at a time. Okay, so they've abandoned those, and they will take the top fame card for doing so. Okay, it's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They rolled a 6, so they do not place any progress in the market. They will just refill their hand. However, they only have 3 cards left in their deck. So that means another card from the Dynasty deck, and they will shuffle. And now you're thinking, since the Macedonians are up to their old tricks and rolling 6s, will the Celts respond in kind and start rolling 6s yet again? Let's find out. Yes! They did roll a 6! Okay, so the Celts are going to play all of their cards as well, starting with Cauldron of Caradwyn. Sure, something like that. Okay, this is a pin card. Alright, so going down their list, we find pinned. Put this card into history and force the Macedonians to take some unrest. Okay. Next card is Unrest. Simple. And then a Watermill, which is pinned and uncivilized. I think uncivilized will come first. Yes, if able to acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can still do that. There are still some in the market, so that's what they'll do. So both Monument and Shrine are in the market, uncivilized cards. They're both worth 1 victory point. They both have 0 tokens on them, so they'll take the one furthest to the left, which is Monument. Next card, big surprise, is some more Unrest. And then finally, they have Gambling. Okay, civilized and uncivilized. So, uncivilized again. Acquire another uncivilized card, which they can do. There are, again, 2 in the market, Boats and Shrine. Boats is worth 5 now, so they'll take that. That's the end of the turn for the Celts. They rolled a 6, so they will not place any progress. They'll just refill their hand. Back to the Macedonians now. They roll a 3, so maybe the the rolling of 6 warfare has subsided for the time being. Okay, and they start with the Magnificent card, the Fame card they just picked up. And so they simply put it into history. Okay, that's easy. Here is Philip II again, a Barbarian card. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary. Put this card into history. Nope, they only have 1 population. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. No, they only have 2 materials. So they will do the last thing, break through for a region. There's 1 region in the market, so they will take lakes. Next card is a region, Halikman Valley. Okay, so the same instructions for all regions. Gain a material, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Espionage. Last card for the Macedonians is Prosperity. Okay, which I believe is a named card here, yeah. Prosperity. Discard the top card from the bot deck. Okay. Gain 1 material and 1 population per bot region in play. So they have 4 in play, so they'll get 4 of each. And you may draw a card. Okay, so you again means the opposing bot. Now, bots don't have hands of cards in the usual sense. So we're told the bot instructions say whenever a bot is told to draw a card, instead it merely discards the top card of its deck. So that's what will happen there. The Celts will discard the top card of their deck. Okay, that's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 3 card. Slide this card down and refill their hand. I think they have enough cards this time. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they do. Okay. But the Celts say no! We're not done rolling 6s. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the Celts roll another 6. So they'll play all their cards. Unrest is the first one. Next card will be Uncivilized. Big surprise. Okay, so also pinned, but Uncivilized comes first. So they will acquire another Uncivilized card, which they can do. We'll ignore the rest of this. Okay, only 1 Uncivilized card this time, so they'll take Shrine. Next card, again, no surprise, is some Unrest. Next card, will it be an Uncivilized card? Hey, what a shock. Get this kind of Uncivilized and Unrest back and forth with the Celts. Okay, so Monument. This is a Barbarian card as well as Uncivilized, so have to watch out for that. Barbarian might come up first. But it doesn't. Uncivilized is still first. Okay. So they will acquire yet another uncivilized card, and there is one on the market. Cannot. I expected this last card to be Unrest, but it isn't. It's the Conquer card. Okay, which is a Barbarian card, but it's also named here, so yeah, be careful of that. I've made that mistake before. Ruined a whole video for this mistake. Okay, make sure you go down the list and find the first one that's relevant. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary. No, they only have 2 population, so that won't work. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, you take Unrest. Okay, so they're going to acquire a region. And there's only one region in the market, so that's easy. They'll take Cape. That's the end of the Celts' turn. They rolled a 6, so they will not place any progress. They'll simply refill their hand. The Macedonians almost rolled a 6. They rolled a 5. Alright, let's start with Conquer, which is a Barbarian card for them. Okay. So, Barbarian. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary and put this card into history. Yes, they can do that now. They have they have 5 population now, so they can do that. So they will do that instead of these other things. So they're breaking through for a tributary, but there are 2 in the market, so they'll take one of those. The one worth the most is the Phoenicians, so they will break through for that. Next card is Unrest. And then Pelagonia, a region. So they'll take some materials, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Mysticism. Last card for the Macedonians will be another region card, Hills. So we know what that means. Gain material, play the card, exile the card from the market. They will exile Plain. That's it for the Macedonians. They'll place Progress on the 5 card in the market, slide that card down, and refill their hand. They go through their deck rather quickly, so as expected, they run out of cards doing that. And so they'll take another card from their Dynasty deck and put it into the discard pile and shuffle. The Celts roll a 2 this time and begin with Cape, a region. So, gain 1 population and 1 material, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Oasis. Next card for the Celts is Connaught, a pinned and uncivilized card, so that means uncivilized. They're going to try to acquire another one. And there is one in the market, yes, City, so they will acquire that. Next card is Unrest. And lastly, big surprise, another uncivilized card. This has Barbarian on it, but I think uncivilized still comes first, yeah. Okay, so they're going to try to acquire another uncivilized card. Well, they have finally drained the market of all uncivilized cards. So they're not going to be able to do that this time. So the next option is gain a population, put this card into history, and force the Macedonians to take Unrest. Okay, so they'll do that. That's the end of the Celts' turn. They'll place Progress on the 2 card in the market. Slide that down and refill their hand. Okay, the Macedonians roll a 1 and start by playing Phoenicians, a tributary. So, this is the first tributary we've seen this game. But I don't think, yeah, looks like we're going to get to other. Okay, gain 1 progress per bot region in play. Well, they have 6 in play, so they'll get 6 progress. Discard the top card of the bot deck, and this card will go to history. Next card is Advance, which is a Barbarian card. Okay, if able, spend 3 population. No, they only have 2, so they can't do that. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials. They can do that to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Otherwise, okay, so they'll do the second thing. Spend 3 materials, acquire a civilized or uncivilized card, and then this card will go into history. Well, there are no uncivilized cards in the market, thanks to the Celts always taking those, but there are 2 civilized cards, both with the asterisk on, so they're both worth 5. But this one has 2 progress, so it's worth 7. They'll take that. Next card is Phalanx, a pinned card. So here, gain a population. That's it. Last card is Philip II. Barbarian card again. Fable spend 3 population. Yeah, they can do that now. They just picked up a 3rd population, so they can do that. So they'll break through for a tributary and put this card into history. Okay, 2 tributaries in the market. Both have a printed value of 3, but the Hittites have a progress token on it, so they're going to take that. Wait, they're going to break through, aren't they? Yeah, this is breaking through, so they'll leave the unrest behind and simply take the card. Okay, and Philip II is finally going to history. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place a progress token on the 1 card in the market. Oh, we need to replace that card. There we go. And now they will refill their hand. Okay, the Celts roll a 4 this time. Start with some unrest. Easy. Then more unrest. Easy. And then more unrest? Ah. Well, you know, their other favorite card. Kind of card. A uncivilized card. Also civilized, though. And pinned. Alright, so still uncivilized is first. So they'll acquire another one if they can. And they can this time. There is a new one in the market. So they'll take domestication. And last card is, what do you know, another uncivilized card. So they will try to acquire another uncivilized card. But this time there are none in the market, so never mind about that. So they can't do that. Otherwise, gain 1 population, put this card into history, and the Macedonians take some unrest. So you know the turn for the Celts. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market. Slide that card down and refill their hand. Back to the Macedonians now. They roll a 2 and start with Glory, which is a named card for them. On their chart, I mean. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do that. They have 6 regions in play. So that's what they'll do. They have abandoned the 3 latest regions, and they will take the top fame card. Okay. Next card is Unrest. And then Temple. Okay, which is Civilized, Pinned, and Empire. Well, Pinned is here. Okay, so that's it. Gain a population. Last card is a region, Lakes. So that means they gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. They will exile exports. Exile exports. That's the end of the Macedonian turn. They'll place progress on the 2 card in the market. Slide that card down. And refill their hand. Let's see if they'll make it. Yeah, they did make it this time. Okay, so not quite time for them to turn into an empire. They're close, though. Okay, Celts are up next. Celts roll a 1 and start with boring unrest. Then, hey, what do you know? An uncivilized card. Okay, so they will try to acquire another uncivilized card. They can't this time. There are no uncivilized cards in the market. Okay, so they'll do this other thing. Gain a population, put this card in history, and force the Macedonians to take unrest. Next card for the Celts is a region, Armorica. Okay, so that's down here. Gain 1 population and 1 material. Play the region, exile a card. They will exile Cataphract. Last card for the Celts is Glory. So, if able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do this now. They have 4 regions in play. So that is what they'll do. So they have abandoned the last 3 regions that they'd put in play, and they will now take the top fame card. And that will be the end of the turn for the Celts. They'll place progress on the 1 card in the market, and they will refill their hand. I don't believe they have enough cards to do so in their deck. No, they do not. Okay. So another card off the Dynasty deck. And they will shuffle. Back to the Macedonians now. They roll a 2 and begin by playing a tributary, the Hittites. And I don't think tributaries is even on their chart, right? I think we saw this before. Yeah. Alright, all the way to other. Gain 1 progress per bot region in play. They're down to 4 this time, so they'll only get 4 progress. Discard the top card of the bot deck, and this card will go into history. Next card is Unrest, and then Prosperity, which is named here on their chart. Discard the top card from the bot deck, gain 1 material and 1 population per region in play. That's 4 each. And the Celts will discard a card. Last card for the Macedonians is a tributary, the Uxians, which is also an attack card. So I think that actually will come into play here. Yeah, attack right here. Steal 2 materials. Okay, they can do that. Discard the top card of the bot deck. They can do that too. Okay, it's the end of the Macedonians' turn. They'll place progress on the 2 card in the market, slide this card down, and refill their hand. Their deck is completely empty, so now it is time for Alexander to make his appearance on the scene and turn the Macedonians into an empire. Celts' turn now. They roll a 3, and they start with Druids, which doesn't have any markings on it at all. Okay, so I think we're going to get to other, unless Druids is mentioned. No. If able, return an Unrest from the discard pile. No, they only have 1 card in their discard pile. It's not Unrest. Gain 1 progress. Well, they can do that, of course. And discard the top card of the bot deck. Okay. Next card is a Fame card. Great. And Fame is the only marking on it, so Fame. Spend all materials to gain the same number of progress. Well, they only have 3, because the Macedonians just stole some from them. Alright, so they'll spend all those to get 3 progress, and this Fame card will go into history. And now I have an Uncivilized card, cannot. So they'll try to acquire another Uncivilized card, but they can't. There are none in the market. So they will gain a population, put this card into history, and force the Macedonians to take Unrest. And we have another Uncivilized card, Gambling. So same thing. They can't acquire an Uncivilized card right now, so they'll gain a population, put this card into history, and force the Macedonians to take some Unrest. Okay, that's all for the Celts. They'll place progress on the 3 card in the market, and they will refill their hand. Okay, the Macedonians are now an empire, and so we're now looking at their empire chart here. And they start their turn by rolling a 3 and playing a Fame card, Eminent. So Fame, gain 1 progress per bot region in play. They have 4 regions in play, so they will gain 4 progress, and this card will go into history. The next card is Temple, which is a pinned and empire card, and also civilized. So let's see, it's not Fame, not Glory, not Barbarian, it's not a region, it is pinned. Okay. If able, return a region from a discard pile into play. Well, the Macedonians don't have a discard pile right now, so they can't do that. Put this card into history. They can do that. Okay. Might not seem like much, but they can do part of this, namely putting the card into history, so they will do as much as they can. All right, that's it. Next card is Glory, which is still named on this chart. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top Fame card. Yes, they can still do that. They have 4 regions in play. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region from exile. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Otherwise, gain a progress. Alright, well, they're going to do the first thing. Abandon 3 regions to gain a Fame card. Last card is a region, Halkmon Valley, which is also pinned, but region comes first. Play the region and exile a card. Well, they played the region, but they cannot exile a card because every card in the market has a token on it. So they won't do that. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. They'll place progress on the 3 card in the market, slide that card down, and refill their hand. Celts' turn now. They roll a 2 and start with a region, Belgica. And so that means they will gain 1 population and 1 material, play the region, exile a card from the market. Once again, they can't exile a card because they all have tokens on them. Okay, next card is Monument, an uncivilized card. Oh, also Barbarian, pinned. But still uncivilized comes before Barbarian. Okay. So they'd like to acquire an uncivilized card. They can't. There are none in the market. So they will gain a population, put this card into history, and force some unrest on the Macedonians. Next card is Glory. Okay. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. They can't do that. They only have 2 regions in play. So instead they will discard the top dynasty card and force some more unrest on the Macedonians. Okay, so they'll take the top dynasty card and put it in their discard and force some more unrest on the Macedonians. The unrest pile is getting a little low. There's only 3 there now. So if the Celts continue along this road, they may be able to force a collapse. We'll have to see if they can succeed in that. Okay, so that's the end of that card. Next card is a Jade Mask, again uncivilized, and they cannot acquire any more uncivilized cards because there are none in the market. So again, they'll take a population, put this card into history, and some more unrest for the Macedonians. Alright, that's the end of the turn for the Celts. They'll place progress on the 2 card in the market and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 3 and they begin with the Wunderkind Alexander. Okay, it doesn't have any markings on him at all. So I guess we'll just go all the way to other. Gain a progress per region in play. There are 2. And put this card into history. Next card is Awe-Inspiring, a fame card. So they will gain, again, 1 progress per bot region in play. That's 2 again, and this card goes into history. Next card is Unrest. Macedonians need to get rid of a lot of that, and quickly. And the last card is Phalanx, which is a pinned card. Okay, here. If able, return a region from the discard pile into play. I believe they can do that, because they recently abandoned some. So I think they can do that. And this card will go into history. So Rainforest came back into play, and this Phalanx card now is going into history. Okay. The Macedonians will place progress on the 3 card in the market, which is, it's all piling up with progress because neither faction seems interested in these cards. Okay, so anyway, this card will slide down and they will refill their hand. It's the Celts' turn now, and once again there are only 3 unrest cards in the unrest pile, so if they continue doing what they did last hand, they may be able to force a collapse if they could get those 3 unrest cards over to the Macedonians. Okay, so we'll watch out for that. They roll a 1, and they start with a Watermill, which is an uncivilized card, so that's probably going to mean some unrest. If able to acquire an unrest card, still can't do that, there are none in the market. So they will gain 1 population, put this card into history, and force some unrest on the Macedonians. Okay, so just 2 unrest cards left. Next card is another uncivilized card. Okay, so we're going to have the same thing. Again, they cannot acquire an uncivilized card because there's none in the market. So gain a progress, put this card into history, and Macedonians take another unrest. Okay, just 1 unrest card left. Let's see if the Celts can manage to give it to the Macedonians. Well, not right now anyway. So a region, Armorica. So that will mean gain a population and a material, play the region, and exile a card from the market. They still cannot exile a card from the market, still overloaded with progress tokens. Okay, still just 1 unrest card, and they've got 1 more card to play in this hand. Let's see if they cause a collapse. Looks like they will. Okay, so an uncivilized card once again. We're back here. They can't acquire an uncivilized card that's in the market, so gain a population, put this card in history, give unrest to the Macedonians. Well, there you have it, folks. The unrest pile is now empty, which means that the game ends in a collapse. So we have to figure out who has the most unrest cards, and that team will be the losing nation. So we need to figure out how to resolve a collapse. There's a slight interpretive issue with playing this game Nullitaire. Again, this game was not intended to be played Nullitaire, so we're playing basically by the solitaire rules and just treating the bots as though they're both well, solitaire bots playing against each other. Okay, anyway, so according to the solitaire rules, when a collapse is triggered, if there are ever no cards left in the unrest pile. Okay, so that happened. Collapse was triggered. And the way we resolve that is if the game end is triggered by collapse, you lose, meaning the solitaire player loses, even if the bot has more unrest cards than you. Okay, well obviously we're not going to play it like that because there is no you solitaire player in this version of the game. So we have to do it according to the regular rules, as though there were two players playing against each other. So if we go to the regular rules, we see that collapse says when collapse is triggered, the game ends immediately without even completing the current action. Count the number of unrest cards in your hand, play, area, draw, deck, discard, pile, and history. The player with the fewest unrest cards wins. In the case of a tie, the tied player should proceed to scoring. Okay, so I've collected together all of their cards here. I'm going to go through them and find out how many unrest cards each of them have. The tokens and scoring victory points won't come into play unless they happen to be tied with unrest cards. Okay, so whichever faction has the fewest unrest cards wins. If there's a tie, then we'll use scoring to resolve it. So as usual, I'm going to do this by going down the columns here. I've placed out all the unrest cards for both sides and matched them up one for one. Usually when we do this with victory points, whichever side runs out of victory points first is the loser. But this time, whichever side runs out of unrest first is the winner. All right, so let's see how it goes. Here we go. So there's some unrest from each side. Oh. Oh my. Well, the Macedonians have a lot of unrest, way more than the Celts. The Celts only had one unrest card in their entire deck. Okay, and it's pretty clear just by a quick glance through the decks that if the Celts had not forced a collapse, they definitely would have lost by victory points. The Macedonians were just way ahead of them in victory points. Just these progress tokens alone would probably be enough for them to win. Okay, so the Celts' a very good plan to force the collapse. There you have it. Celts win by a collapse. Well, there you have it. The Celts beat the Macedonians and move on to the final matchup. Celts versus the Atlanteans. So the question will be, can the Celts pull off the same maneuver of forcing a collapse against the Atlanteans, or will the Atlantean juggernaut bowl them over? Okay, well, we'll have to see in the final match. And I hope you'll join me then. Till then.